Okay, so we can finally start. Magandang hapon, good afternoon, konnichiwa for our Japanese friends. We are now live in our official Facebook page, Pandemic Literature Project. And welcome to the official launching of the project, hashtag Pandemic Literature Project, featuring pandemic literatures from the Philippines and Japan. And of course, we will have conversations on writing in the time of COVID pandemic. So this project was initiated by the Philippine Society of Young Educators of Languages and the Arts with funding support from the Japan Foundation Manila in partnership with the Center for Language and Literary Studies and also Center for Social History, both from the Polytechnic University of the Philippines. So as for the background of this project, this was conceived during this global pandemic that we are all quarantined, isolated, and this pandemic also hindered our social mobility as well. But not our creativity, of course. As social media and our website were transforming on how we connect with each other these challenging times, an initiative to create this project was therefore conceptualized with the theme Pandemic Literature from the Philippines and Japan, Narratives of Hope, Resilience, and Essential Insights in Overcoming COVID-19 Crisis. Short stories and personal essays submissions were carefully selected by Filipino and Japanese editors. As for the selected and edited stories and personal essays from the Philippines and Japan, it will be published in an online platform, which is the website we will be launching today. And of course, aside from that website launching, we will have the opportunity to virtually meet our authors, and we will be also sharing important things to know about their personal essays and short stories. So now, without further ado, to give us his opening remarks, let us all welcome the Assistant Director of Japan Foundation Manila, Mr. Abe Wataru. Hi, Sir Abe.
Thank you for kind introduction. Dr. Anna Lubik-Kapashin, Vice President of Research, Extension, and Development, PUP, Professor Joseph Leinan Vilay, Director of PUP Institute for Culture and Language Studies, officers of the Philippine Society of Young Educators of Languages and the Arts, to all the chiefs of PUP who are present today, and to all our viewers online. Magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat. Konnichiwa, minasan. My name is Wataru Abe, Assistant Director of the Japan Foundation Manila. I am happy to meet you all virtually. The year 2020 has brought us new experiences that changed our normal ways of how we carry on with our lives. Just like the Philippines, Japan, and the rest of the world were taken aback with the pandemic. Though separated by geography and social distancing, we all share experiences and narratives on hope, resilience, and reflections about COVID-19. Stories are capsules of memories, and in these memories, time and feelings are preserved. With the launching of the Pandemic Literature Project, we hope these stories will serve as a reminder of the strength of the human spirit. The pandemic may have created social barriers for us, but collaborations are ever present. I would like to commend the Philippine Society of Young Educators of Languages and the Arts through Dr. Peña and the Polytechnic University of the Philippines for initiating the project. I would also like to thank all the contributors from the Philippines and Japan who shared their works for this. Congratulations to everyone behind this very timely and relevant work. As we end this year, let us carry the insights and the learning we will gain and move forward to a better new year. Maraming salamat. ありがとうございました。
Thank you very much, Abe Wataru, for that message, and thank you very much for gracing this event. And we deeply appreciate your presence this afternoon. So, to give us and represent our Vice President for Research, Extension, and Development from the Polytechnic University of Philippines, to give us his message, let us all welcome AVP Tomas Testor. Sir Tom, you're muted po.
I'm sorry. Yes, thank you very much. Good afternoon to everyone. Good afternoon to our partners, of course, the Philippine-Japan Association, the Philippine Association of Young Educators and of Languages and Arts, the organizer of this event through the Institute for Culture and Languages Studies, headed by Director Raylan Viray. Of course, we have the Chief Jomar Adaya and Chief Romeo Peña. Let me extend my congratulations to all of you for having this noble undertaking. Our Vice President for Research, Extension and Development, Dr. Ana Ruby Gapasin, is in Laguna right now, having some rest after some, activities that we have had the last 2 weeks with ISO preparation, accreditation, the institutional development plan that we have been doing. So this morning I received a message from her that please do me a favor to deliver a message for you today. So this is actually a noble undertaking because we are trying to use available platforms in order for us to share what we have in mind, what we have written, and what we have scholarly research. This is a venue that we can express what we feel and what we think about what is happening in our society right now. So I would like to congratulate all of you, of course, the contributors, the writers, uh, for having this kind of platform, exploring any avenue in order for all of us to share what we have in mind. Again, congratulations to all of you. And of course, PUP would be proud of having this kind of website so that all of those who would like to share their ideas may use this for, of course, for sharing their ideas and somehow help uh, other people appreciate what the culture and the arts and languages can contribute in transforming our society and facing what the problems that we are, the problems that we are facing now. And so again, congratulations and good afternoon to all of you.
Thank you very much, AVP Tom Testor, for that message. And to give us his message for this event, let us all welcome the Director of PUP, Institute for Culture and Language Studies, Professor Joseph Raylan Veray.
Thank you, Mr. Wataru Abe of Japan Foundation, and thank you, Sir Tom Testor, the ABP of Research, Extension, and Development of PUP for the messages. Warmest felicitations to all of you who organized this worthy project. Special mention to Professor Jomar Adaya of the Center for Language and Literature Studies, to Dr. Romeo Peña of the Center for Social History, and to Professor Maylak Malaga of the Philippine Society of Young Educators of Languages and the Arts. Congratulations to all of you. I am very happy that you were able to come up with this initiative amidst this situation that might have cowed many individuals who are not as resilient and as innovative as you are. You made the pandemic, ironically, a portal of beautiful creations of the mind and an avenue where narratives of hope, love, and survival could be conveyed artistically. Our thanks also to the artists, writers, men and women of letters who participated in this project. The pandemic was not able to imprison the power of your creativity and fluidity of your imagination. And that's something which that's something which all of us should have. To all the sponsors of this event, particularly the Japan Foundation and the Polytechnic University of the Philippines, without whose support, this project would not have become a possibility. Maraming salamat po. Again, my personal gratitude to all the organizers, the sponsors, and the artists who spared some time here with us to make this project a success. Maraming salamat po. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Veray. And to give us his message for this event, let us all welcome the main proponent of this project, the Chief of the PUP Center for Social History, Dr. Romeo P. Peña.
Thank you very much, Ma'am Roan. We appreciate the warm participation extended to us by the audience watching via FB Live now. The authors who are with us today, my co-editors, who also served as project team, the officials of the Japan Foundation Manila, Sir Abe Wataru, and Sir Carlos Ortiz. Thank you very much. Thank you, Philippine Society of Young Educators of Languages and the Arts, and the Polytechnic University of the Philippines. This #pandemic literature project desires to share our experiences through literature in finding common platforms for interactions among the lovers of literature amidst COVID-19 pandemic. This project cuts across literature, like during the pandemic, technology, and nation. It resonates with the most pressing challenge in our society today. This project is an important contribution, an indispensable step, and a precondition in the realization of a vision that literature is our vehicle and necessary medium to realize a healthy and resilient community. We recognize the funding support from the Japan Foundation Manila. Thank you very much. The continuous cooperation of the Center for Language and Literary Studies and Center for Social History under the Institute for Culture of Language Studies of the Polytechnic University of the Philippines, which all of us, the project team, belong. To all accepted contributors, thank you so much for sharing your works. Maraming salamat po sa inyong lahat.
Thank you very much, Professor Peña. And to give us also her message about this project, let us call on from the Philippine Society of Young Educators of Languages and the Arts, Professor Maylak Malaga.
Sa ating mga panauhin sa pangunguna ni Mr. Abe Wataru, Assistant Director of the Japan Foundation Manila, kay ABP Red Tomas O. Testor, kinatawan ng Vice President for Research, Extension and Development ng PUP, kay Professor Raylan Biray, Director ng Institute for Culture and Language Studies, sa mga organizer, sa mga masisipag na contributor mula sa Pilipinas at Japan, sa mga nakiisa sa programa ngayong hapon, magandang araw po sa inyo. Ang kasalukuyang global na pandemya na ating naranasan ay sumubok sa ating katatagan at pananalig. Marami sa atin ang may personal na karanasan at kwentong mananatili sa mahabang panahon. Ang ilang buwang pagkaka-quarantine ay nagbunga ng mapanghamong distansya at mga pagbabago sa ating nakasanayan. Nariyan ang pagkakaroon ng physical at social distancing, pagsusuot ng face mask at face shield, ilang buwang pananatili sa bahay dahil sa mga quarantine protocols at iba pang suliraning kaakibat nito. Sa kabila ng mga hamong ito, hindi pa rin nawawala ang ating pagkamalikhain at maparaan sa anumang gawain. Gayon din, ang ating katatagan at pagiging positibo sa anumang unos na ating nararanasan sa buhay. Nagkaroon man ng pisikal na distansya sa hinang pandemya, naging daan ito para magkaroon ng bagong pag-uugnayan sa pamamagitan ng paggamit ng mga social media at iba pang social sites. Patuloy ring nagliliwanag ang kabayanihan sa katauhan ng ating mga frontliners na sinasakripisyo ang sarili para sa bayan at sa mga ordinaryong mamamayan na sa maliliit na pagkakataon ay nagbahagi ng tulong sa kanilang kapwa, gayon din sa mga biktima ng pandemya at kanilang pamilya na patuloy na lumalaban sa pandemyang ito. Sa bawat karanasang hatid ng pandemya, sa bawat alaala na dala nito, nabubuo ang mga mumunting kwentong hindi malilimutan kailanman. At bunga nito, nabuo ang proyektong #PandemicLiterature na tinangkang pag-ugnayin ang karanasan ng bawat isa. Malaki ang aming pasasalamat sa mga participant, contributor sa proyektong ito na walang pasubaling ibinahagi ang kanilang karanasan sa mamamagitan ng maikling kwento at mga personal na sanaysay. Gayon din, sa mga institusyon at organisasyong tumulong para maisakatuparan ang proyektong ito. Malinaw na ipinapakita ng mga kwento at personal na sanaysay na lumipas man ang panahon, mananatiling buhay sa ating kunita ang mga kwento ng pag-asa, katatagan, at mahalagang pananaw sa ating pagtagumpay laban sa krisis na hatid ng COVID-19. At sa anumang pagsubok o hamon na ating kahaharapin, nananatili ang pag-asa at katatagan para sa isa't isa. Muli, maraming salamat sa inyong lahat.
Maraming salamat, Professor Balaga, sa iyong mensahe. And last but not the least, to give us also his message for this event, let us all welcome Associate Professor, Lecturer from the PUP College of Arts and Letters, Professor Tomoaki Takeshita.
Magandang araw po sa lahat, and I am so delighted to attend this launching ceremony. I am Tomoaki Takeshita, Special Lecturer at Polytechnic University of the Philippines. I am mainly in charge of call for submission in Japan. We received various works from diverse Japanese submitters, such as essayists, novelists, writers of children's literature, high school teacher, university lecturer, doctors, business persons, university students who are affected by COVID-19, and so forth. So it was so difficult for us to select only a few works, but carefully considering how much each work meets our project purpose, we finally selected 2 essays and 2 short stories from Japan. The selected works discuss the essence of people, which was actualized under the COVID-19 crisis, or verbalize pandemic experiences, or describe the insight of those who are suffering from the pandemic. 4 of them try to find true hope and resilience of people while facing severe realities. So it was such an honor to join this excellent and meaningful project, and thank you so much for contribution. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you very much, Professor Tom Waki, for that message. And we are live in Facebook, no, and we have viewers from different parts of the country. We have viewers from Santa Mesa, San Juan, from Quezon City, from Caloocan, Cainta, and and also from Laurel, Batangas. No, we're still hoping na maraming makapanood ng ating launching today. And we will now proceed to the first part of our event, the official website launching of hashtag Pandemic Literature Project. It is simultaneously launched in our Facebook page, so they can also watch video. So here's the video of our website launching. Okay, there you have it. Our official website for our hashtag pandemic literature project. And please share it with your colleagues and friends so they can read the selected essays and short stories featured in the website. And now I know we are excited to hear from our authors. So without further ado, we will now go to the second part of our event, which is the conversations on writing in the time of pandemic. We are going to hear from our authors themselves about their works, their insights and experiences on writing during these challenging times. So we are going to hear from our personal essays author first. And I'm glad to introduce to you our first author for personal essay category. So he is an active advocate of brain cancer awareness since 2017 and engages on social entrepreneurship to raise funds for various charities. He is currently residing in Takamatsu City, Kagawa, Ken, as a Japan exchange teaching program participant. He has been taking up Master of Arts in Language and Literature program from the University of the Philippines in Baguio City. So to give us his answers about his work, the Eastern Waves of Hope and Survival, a story of existential migration, let us all welcome Elizar Evangelista. Hi, Ellie. Ayan, si
All
Sir
right,
Ellie.
I'm unmuted. Okay, hi everybody. Konnichiwa minasan. So yeah, I'm currently residing here in Kagawa, in Japan as assistant language teacher of the Japan Exchange Teaching Program. So basically, my entry is a collection of my thoughts. Maybe we can say pandemic thoughts or pandemic-related thoughts that I've experienced while I'm engaging on existential migration. Basically, existential migration is more of a philosophical stance. My stand, primarily, which I have adopted since 2014. So I had been wandering for quite a time, and I started wandering in the Philippines, going to different provinces, remote provinces, meditating, thinking about things. But definitely, when I moved to Japan, I continued that practice of my philosophical stance. And so I was like looking for a purpose, particularly. I would wanted to feel or experience what life is without my routine in the Philippines, without my family from the Philippines. And I would wanted to discover what I would be, what I wanted, my purpose. And while I was doing that, pandemic got in. It went into the picture. And so I was like shaken because I'm isolated. So basically I lived in the mountains. I don't have, parents to call because I'm an orphan. I don't have, super close friends. Yeah. I only have myself. What would I do and how would I survive this circumstance? So basically, I ventured on strengthening my core. And I think that core is looking at ideas or concepts or philosophies that are intricately Japanese in a way. And these ideas are forest bathing, these ideas about ikigai, these seemingly Japanese philosophies or Eastern philosophies that coincides with or collides with my own philosophical stance. So I was like trying to find harmony in them. So at the first start of my narrative, it was a bit like waves na magulo or something. But definitely the purpose is to find harmony in them and to maintain that state of peace of mind to help me navigate into this venture that I had. And finally, I found my ikigai. I found peace of mind by staying here. That's what it is.
So that answers the first question of what is your work all about. But can you tell us about what are the challenges that you experienced during your writing, when you're writing your work, your personal essay? What are the challenges?
So basically, the first is to intertwine these different ideas that I wanted to express. So it was quite difficult because I was like trying to find how would I able to express an extremely different experience in the time of pandemic. And especially that I'm isolated, I don't have anything to say. I myself has a problem, and it's extremely difficult to encourage others to stay on the ground, to stay put as well. So it's like very challenging to inspire, to encourage others if you yourself as a writer is also trying to strengthen your core. So I think that's a challenge, but definitely if we are able to use the right words at the right time and express them in a creative manner, I think that is the essence of literature. We are able to inspire by using the right words and the right ideas to express or inspire others.
Okay. So that's it. Thank you very much, Eddie, for answering the questions about your wonderful work. Thank you.
Thank you. Arigatou gozaimashita.
So as for the second author, he was born in Kagoshima Prefecture, Japan. After working for several private companies, he's now working as a project assistant professor in the Center for Research and Development in Higher Education in Kagoshima University, while studying PhD in social sciences in the same university. His studies is about energy and local communities, and his hobby is playing cello. So to give us his answer about his work, Nisen Niju Nen no Bondanto Setsuzuku, which is written in Nihongo. Let us all welcome Yusuke Hidaka. Hi, Yusuke.
Hi, everyone.
So the first question is, what is your work all about?
I'm a sociologist at Kagoshima University in Kagoshima Prefecture, in the southernmost part of the Japanese archipelago. The theme of my research is people's conflicts over energy issues. Since the Great East Japan earthquake in 2011, energy issues have been an important issue in Japan. I analyze the energy problem in the present day based on the energy revolution half a century ago. In an essay on the COVID-19 pandemic, I wrote a comparison between the pre-corona society and the society of the corona disaster. Although the lives of Japanese people seem to have changed drastically in the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic, the essence of their lives has not changed. People are born, grow up, fall in love, get married, and die. I think that the COVID-19 pandemic has given people the opportunity to think about how to connect themselves with others. This is very important. With the development of information and communication technology, the opportunities for communication are increasing. In modern society, it is impossible to ponder about oneself and others. I consider this opportunity to be hope in the COVID-19 pandemic.
Okay, so thank you very much for answering the first question. And the second question is, what are the challenges that you experienced during writing your personal essay?
When I wrote, I thought about how a sociological perspective can contribute to society, and this has been a very difficult endeavor. In the current state of the COVID-19 pandemic, people think that sociology and literature are helpless. However, this is not true. Writers and editors have thought, analyzed, and written about an error. We focused on people, not viruses. It is impossible in any other discipline. So this project is very valuable. Thank you to the organizers for giving us such an opportunity.
Okay, thank you very much for answering those questions, Yusuke.
I close by wishing you good luck and success. Thank you for listening.
Okay, thank you again. So for us, for our third author, he is not with us today, but he sent us a video talking about his work. So the author is Shingo Ito. He was born in Mie Prefecture, Japan. After working for a private company, he started to study master's degree course in the National University in Japan. Now he is working as an assistant teacher in the public junior high school and as a staff member of an after-school children club in Mie Prefecture also. His hobby is traveling around the foreign countries, but maybe now he's not able to do that, right? And also going to hot springs. So let us watch the video sent by Shingo Ito about his work, Ushina Wareta Toshi, which is written in Nihongo.
Congratulations, Sir Shingo Ito.
and thank you for your contributing. So may I ask a couple of questions? Could you explain what your essay is all about?
Thank you very much. It is such an honor, and I'm sorry for not taking part in the launching ceremony. In November 2019, I started to study as an exchange student in the Philippines and started to research in the special needs education there for my master's thesis. For the first 4 months in the Philippines, I have a meaningful time for both studying and researching. However, those productive days suddenly ended halfway due to the novel coronavirus. Since I stay in Manila just 2 days before Manila lockdown, I experienced many kind of hardship on COVID-19, both in the Philippines and in Japan. My plan of 2020 was suddenly lost. In my essay, I tried to discuss the meaning of what people have lost and what we can do under such sudden and unexpected disaster by reading about my diary.
What challenges have you experienced in writing your essay, sir?
I was affected in many aspects such as university procedure, my thesis, quarantine, medical examination, accommodation in the Philippines, my future plan, and so on. Actually, I have too many things to write. So it was really hard for me to decide what experience to focus on, to verbalize my experiences, and to organize my thought. At last, I decided to focus on night when President Duterte announced Manila's lockdown and to discuss what we should do in the situation where we face unexpected future.
Thank you so much, and congratulations again.
Thank you.
Okay, so that's the video message from Shingo Ito. So for the fourth author, for the personal essay category, she graduated magna cum laude from the University of the Philippines, Diliman. She works as an academic consultant and freelance artist. She prides herself in complying religiously with physical distancing protocols and refusing to wander outside their family home in Iriga City in the Bicol region. She's laughing now. And her work, times being what they are, is for her a humble attempt at depicting the dull routine nature of life in quarantine. And it was her first venture into the realm of creative writing. So to give us answers about her work, times being what they are, let us all welcome Katarina Martinez. Hello,
Thank you,
Kata.
Miss. Hello. I hope everyone's doing well and in places of safety and good health. So for my piece, Times Being What They Are, it was originally written as a short story because it's not a personal essay in the sense that it's just about me. It's actually a collection of my experiences and the experiences of the people I know, like friends, neighbors, etc. But for the most part, it's autobiographic because it's about two sisters, my sister and I, who were forced to live together under one roof since the lockdown started. And the narrative follows our day-to-day lives inside our home, which is only punctuated when one of us or one of the sisters goes out to get tested for COVID and the results return positive. So basically, that's what the essay is about. But I also wanted to take this time to point out that this essay is not the general experience of Filipinos in the pandemic. I wanted to point that out because I would hate for anybody to read it as such. If we're gonna categorize it, it's like a lower middle class experience, and that fact is illuminated by one of the events in the narrative wherein the sister on her way to the medical facility encounters a tricycle driver, and their conversation ruminates on the differences on how people perceive the pandemic, how we experience the pandemic differently, how we cope with it in different ways, as well as how it changed our notions of survival. So yeah, that's
So
what it's
yeah,
about.
that answers the first question. And for the second question is, what are the challenges that you experienced or met during your writing?
When it comes to challenges that I had to deal with in writing times being what they are, I can think of two things. The first one being I wanted it to have a lot of things because a lot of things have been happening around us, and I wanted it to be relevant. So the challenge was including or incorporating all those elements in one cohesive narrative. So that's the first one, and then the second one is related with the tendency of writers to write depressing stuff during this time, which is understandable because we're living in the dystopia that a lot of writers in the past have just imagined, and now we're actually living in it. So like we can't blame ourselves for that. But I wanted to write something lighthearted, borderline comedic, without downplaying our struggles during this time. So that the challenge was sort of finding a balance between inserting humor whenever possible, but still maintaining that level of thoughtfulness in writing.
Okay.
That's
Okay. So thank you very much, Katarina, for
Thank you.
answering those questions. And let's go to the fifth author for this category. He is a student in the Polytechnic University of the Philippines, taking a Bachelor of Arts in Filippinology. Throughout his childhood, he says his family migrated in different parts of Pasig City and the Rizal province, and now they're permanently residing in Antipolo City. So his earliest trace of interest for literature is when he was 6 years old. And he's also fond of reading comics section of Sunday issues of Manila Bulletin. And last year, up until February this year, he became an exchange student in Japan. So to give us answers about his work mula Japan, pabalik ng Pilipinas, kwentong face mask para sa mga pasaway, ito ay nakasulat sa wikang Filipino. Let us all welcome Paul Serafica. Hi, Paul.
Ayan. Hello po, magandang tanghali po sa lahat ng ating mga manonood ngayon. Konnichiwa minasan. Ang mula sa Japan pabalik ng Pinas, kwentong face mask para sa mga pasaway, ito nga ay Filipino personal essay na aking sinulat para sa pandemic literature. So, it tells about my insight during the latter part of my experience as an exchange student in Kagoshima University, Japan, and arriving back to the Philippines. So itong sanaysay na to, it's about the both worlds of Japan and Philippines at kung paano nag-respond ang parehong bansa sa COVID-19 nung nasa starting point pa lang ito. So as far as I remember, the first case of COVID-19 in Japan was January, and it was a month away before the end of fall semester. So maliban sa foreign feeling na itong coronavirus ay mainit-init pa, binabahagi ko rin sa essay na to yung aking danas sa pag-a-adjust ko sa precautions ng Japan given that dayuhan ako sa kanilang bansa. Hanggang bumalik ako dito sa Pilipinas, nag-home quarantine, and imagine yung pagkasabik ko na bumalik sa dating kagawian, punta sa mga places na dati ko pinupuntahan. Kabilang na dito yung pagpasok ko sa PUP, yung aking home university. It happened na yung first day ko sa PUP, first day ko sa semester na yon, and will also be the last day ko. Kasi in that day, nag-declare si President Duterte ng state of public health emergency. So during this course of experience, it is worth recognizing how vital is to have a face mask. But reflecting upon, napagtanto ko na ang face mask ay higit pa sa face mask physically because kaya nitong tumago sa ating kultura. Kung ano yung quote-unquote pasaway, bakit may mga nagpapasaway, ano yung Filipino resilience, at paano ito nakaka-contribute sa never-ending tale of Filipino resilience natin. Ayan lang po.
So, yun yung tungkol sa iyong akda. No?
Opo.
Paano naman yung mga kinaharap mong mga challenges, yung mga pagsubok naman sa pagsusulat nitong personal na sanaysay na ito?
Ah, sa kaso ko kasi, since I've got to experience the both worlds nga ng Japan, Philippines, I wouldn't want to call it fortunate kasi pandemya pa rin 'to, maraming nawalan ng trabaho, maraming masalang humirap, maraming nawalan ng mahal sa buhay. So, yun mismo yung challenge do'n yung challenge do'n yung pagsubok is paano ko ito susulat accurately without romanticizing it. Kasi 'di ba, human life is not a number, human life is not a mere telltale. So, but for the sake of writing this, papalad ako na first hand ko nga na-experience yun kasi it contributes in sharing an insight which I see as a silver lining. Pero yung pinaka-challenge dito is that I have to be extra careful in disseminating information because if this information do not affect me now, it will affect the future generation, yung mga mambabasa because yun nga, yung literature can mold the mind of people. At pagsusulat sa panahon ng pandemya, tinignan ko ito sa punto de vista ng isang nag-archive kasi it's not like every year may bagong pandemic. So imagine how it would affect our history sa academe, sa medical field, kung marami tayong nailimbag na panitikan noong 1905, chlorella pandemic sa Pilipinas. So, learning from our roots, napakahalaga at pagsubok ang verifikasyon sa pagtatala ng katotohanan sa panitikan, especially in this age where revisionism is rampant and are in favor to those who are in the seat of power po.
Okay, salamat Paul sa iyong magandang mga sagot tungkol sa iyong akdang personal na sanaysay.
Maraming salamat din po.
So for our sixth and last author for this category, personal essay, she describes herself as a mother of three, a writer, editor, and copyright advocate. She has 9 books produced by mainstream and small publishing companies. She also works for the Intertextual Division of the Cultural Center of the Philippines. And she lives in Bacoor, Cavite, Philippines with her family. So, kinigagala ko pong ipakilala sa inyo ang ating idol na author, Beverly C. At kanyang sasagutin ang mga tanong tungkol sa kanyang akdang Diskaril na nakasulat sa Filipino. Hi, Ma'am Bev.
Hello, magandang araw po. Mula po sa Bacoor, Cavite. Nagpapasalamat po ako sa pagkakataon na maging bahagi ng proyekto po na ito. Nagpapasalamat po ako sa organizers, sa funders, at sa publication and website team. Thank you rin sa ating tagapagpadalay. Thank you. Thank you sa pagpapakilala sa akin.
Ma'am Bebang, maaring po bang i-describe sa amin yung naging proseso mo ng paglikha ng yung akdang Diskaril?
Okay. So yung aking akda po, pasensya na po sa mga international audience natin, ano? Pakikalabit na lang po yung mga kasama yung Filipino para i-translate ito sa Ingles. Ang aking akda ay tungkol sa pagkakahuli ng aking nanay. So hinuli siya ng police noong Agosto sa kasong gambling. Oh my God, no? Nakakahiyaman. Pero na-realize ko na kailangan ko ito isulat sapagkat baka walang ibang makapagsulat ng ganitong karanasan, no? Sa gitna ng COVID crisis, no? So, ang nangyari sa akin, kasama yung bunso kong kapatid, mula kami sa Cavite ay hinanap namin siya noong umaga na siya ay hinuli, no, yung nanay namin. Hinanap namin siya sa bahay niya kasi nagtanong kami sa mga kapitbahay. Pangalawa sa barangay outpost na malapit sa kanya kasi doon daw sila pumasok, no, noong sila ay hinuli. Yun pala dahil umuulan lang kaya sila pinapasok doon. Kala namin dinocument or whatever. Tapos sunod sa police substation sa Bamboo Organ, sa Las Piñas District Hospital kasi sabi nila ay dinadala daw bago sa hospital para i-check up bago dalhin sa selda or sa presinto, no? Tapos sa presinto ng Las Piñas City Hall at sa Southern Police District sa Taguig City. So napakarami po ng aming pinuntahan at lahat yan ay idinitalye ko doon sa aking sanaysay. So takot na ngayon po nakakangiti na ako, ano, kasi yung nanay ko ay nakauwi na after around 2 weeks. Pero po, yung araw po na yan, sobrang nakakatakot, sobrang nakakatrauma. Una, wala pong makapagsabi sa amin kung nasaan yung aming nanay. Wala. So ganito pala yung pakiramdam ng mga yung mga nabibiktima ng tokhang, 'di ba? Bigla nilang nadudukot yung mga hinuhuli yung kanilang mga mahal sa buhay, ganyan. So yun yung una namin naisip na baka tokhang. Pangalawa yung COVID na baka mahawa yung aming nanay. Pangatlo, kami. Baka ma-COVID kami dun sa aming mga lahat ng pinupuntahan kinakausap namin. So lahat po yan nakadetalye po sa Sanaysay. Ayun. Tapos dun naman sa sa struggle ko sa pagsulat nito, ang struggle ko ay sa palagay ko yung distansya ko dun sa karanasan. Nangyari kasi sa akin ito Agosto. Tapos sinulat ko po ito Setyembre. Although sinulat ko po sa aking journal yung buong danas, no? Pati yung pagpapalaya namin doon sa nanay namin na hindi ko sinama doon sa sanaysay na inilathala sa ating website. Lahat po yan naka-journal sa aking journal, sa aking notebook. Pero palagay ko dahil sa distansya, yung napakalapit pa niya, kaya hindi mo maiintindihan kung ano yung tono nung sanaysay. Para sa akin, naging struggle sa akin yun, magpapatawa ba ako? Isusulat ko, ano bang gagawin ko, yung faithful ba dun sa karanasan? Ganun yung nangyari sa akin na medyo nahirapan ako doon. Ayun lang po.
Maraming salamat, Ma'am Bebang, sa iyong babahagi tungkol sa iyong akdang Karil. And there you have it. Yun po ang ating mga personal essay authors. And for our second category, which is the short stories category, our first author is not around. Hindi natin siya kasama ngayon, pero babasahin ko ang message from. So before natin basahin ang message from Yoshito Ehara, at pakilala muna natin siya. Si Yoshito Ehara studied in the GK University School of Medicine after graduating from Ota High School in Gunma Prefecture in Japan. In 1993, he passed the National Medical Practitioners Qualifying Examinations. After that, he had worked mainly for the GK University Hospital as a doctor. And in 2010, when his father passed away, he became the director of Tomo Kiai Hospital in Japan. He specializes in dementia and elder care. So ito po yung message from Yoshito Ehara. I am Yoshito Ehara, a doctor in Gunma Prefecture, 100 kilometers away from Tokyo. I am 52-year-old male. As a doctor, I am thinking about life every day. An infectious disease is a sickness endangering lives that are closest to humanity. The history of human can be said to be the record of coexistence with infectious diseases. Everyone fears invisible pathogens, overreacts to them, relies on the omnipotence of science and experts to overcome or coexist with them. On the other hand, they are tormented between tolerance and exclusion from others, minding if they should change existing values or not. I also can help but think what I can see beyond that. How have people overcome infectious diseases and how are we going to overcome them? Reading again my most favorite novel, Shiro no Sakinite by Naoya Shiga in 1910 for the first time in a while and listening to The White Room by Cream in 1968, I wrote a story that hit me. I am delighted to be chosen for this wonderful project. Thank you so much. Maraming salamat po. So that's the message from Yoshito Ehara, and that's from the perspective of a medical practitioner. So for the next author for the category of short stories, he is from Hagonoy, Taguig, Philippines. He is currently taking his postgraduate studies in creative writing at the University of Santo Tomas. He is working as a mobile journalist at TV5 One Balita Pilipinas. This piece will be a part of his future collection about his hometown, hopefully. So without further ado, to answer questions about his work ng Tumawa ang Diyos na naisulat sa Filipino, let us all welcome Benjo Gutierrez.
Magandang hapon po sa lahat. Magandang hapon po sa mga kapwa ko contributors at sa mga international authors po natin. Yung sinulat ko pong maikling kwento na ng Tumawa ang Diyos, tungkol po siya sa pagbaba ng Diyos sa amin, sa barangay namin sa Hagonoy, para turuang magdasal ulit yung mga tao. Well, basically, nagdadasal naman talaga yung mga tao doon sa ginawa kong mundo sa kwento. Pero, naalarma lang yung Diyos kasi parang para sa Diyos, mali na yung paraan ng pagdadasal nila. So, bumaba siya, nagkatawang tao siya, at dinesregard niya lahat ng godly privileges niya para personally, turuan nga magdasal yung mga tao doon sa Hagonoy. Ayun, ang una niyang nakita doon ay mga nagpe-pedicab. Sumunod ay isang lalaki na may aki-aki na kanyang anak. At huli niyang nakita doon ay yung mga barangay tanod na nakakatawa kasi hinanapan siya ng travel pass kasi galing daw siya sa langit at wala kang travel pass. Yun po ang
Okay, salamat. So that answers the first question, tungkol saan ang iyong akda. So yung ikalawang tanong naman ay, ano yung mga pagsubok, kung meron man, na kinaharap mo nung sinusulat mo ang iyong kwento?
Sa totoo lang po, yung hirap doon, yung ano na po yung external noise na nangyayari po sa paligid natin, lalo na sa panahon ng pandemya. Tapos, syempre, hindi naman po pwedeng hindi ka manood din ng balita. So, yun. So, yun yung hirap. Parang iniisip ko nga po noon, nung oras na yun, kung dapat ba akong, kinukusyon ko din po yung sarili ko kung dapat ba ako nagsusulat ng panahon na yun o dapat iba yung ginagawa ko. Pero sa tulad nga po nung sinabi kanina ni Paul, kailangan siya para merong, at ni Ma'am Bebang, kailangan siya para merong mag-document sa nangyayari natin. Dahil babasahin siya ng mga susunod pang henerasyon. Ayun, yun po yung hirap na naranasan ko. Actually, more on internal. Tsaka yung psychic distance din po kasi, yung distansya. Kinakapa ko rin po kung yung tulad po sinabi ni Ma'am Bebang, kinakapa ko rin kung ano ba magiging tono ko dito. Kung tama ba yung pagkaka-portray ko doon sa lugar kung saan ako galing, kung ganun ba yung magiging reaction nila kung bumaba talaga yung Diyos. Yung authenticity po. Tsaka yung pagiging tama ng mga detalye. Yun po siguro yung hirap na kasama sa pagsusulat ko nitong akdang ito.
Okay, so maraming salamat Benjo sa pagsagot sa mga tanong na iyan. So yung ating next author ay hindi natin kasama ngayon, pero nag-send siya ng kanyang video. Pero bago natin panoorin yung video, ay i-introduce muna natin siya. So si Ryoya Naito was born in Kagoshima, Japan. He graduated from Kagoshima University with the degree BA in Economics in 2018 and then obtained his master's degree in Sociology also in Kagoshima, Japan just this year, 2020. So to share with us his work, Nigeru, written in Hongo, let us all watch his video.
はい。内藤さん、この度は本プロジェクトに、投稿いただいてありがとうございました。採用おめでとうございます。
はい、ありがとうございます。
こちらからちょっと2つほど質問させていただきたいんですけど、1点目はもう内藤さん書かれた小説について、簡単に内容を教えていただけますか。
そうですね。やっぱり新型コロナウイルスが広がった蔓延した世界っていうことを書くっていうことを通して、なんというか、新型コロナウイルスのことだけじゃなくて、より普遍的な社会問題であったりとか、あるいは僕たち個人が抱えている問題であったりとか、そうした
領域についてもこう書くことができたらなっていう気持ちを込めて、書いたものになってます。
そのお書きになる上で、そのパンデミックの状況下でどういうふうなこの困難っていうのを経験されましたか？
そうですね。直接的な困難ということだと割とこう少ない方だと思うんですけれども、やはりこう、世の中を見ているとこう、パンデミックによってこう、貧困の問題であったりとか、差別の問題であったりとか、そうしたこう、潜在的にあった社会問題っていうのがよりこう見えやすくなってきている部分というのがあるなというふうに感じていて、そうしたことを感じながらこう一人の人間として生きていくっていうことと、あるいは物語を書くっていうことがなんかすごくそういう行為自体にこう不安を覚えたりとか、ちょっと苦しい部分があったりとか、そうしたものを感じる機会というのがありました。でもやっぱりこうなんか今の状況をよりよくできるはずだっていうそういうなんか希望みたいなものがあったので、乗り越えられていけるのかなと思って、書くこともできたのかなと思っています。
それじゃありがとうございました。
So that's the video message from Ryoya Naito for his work, Nigeru. For our next author, papakilala ko siya. He is a Filipino teacher in senior high school. He was born in Parañaque, worked in Las Piñas, and is now living in Cavite Province, Philippines. He is also an active member of Lapis, Artcom, and Cavite Young Writers Association. He writes children literature and short fiction. Upang sagutin ang mga tanong tungkol sa kanyang akdang Hindi Taga Rito na nakasulat sa Filipino, narito si Romel Pamaos. Hi, Romel.
Hello po. Good afternoon po sa lahat. At salamat po sa project proponent po nitong pandemic literature project sa pagkakataon na makasama po yung piyesa sa kayong mga gawa ng doon po sa kwento ko, halo-halo ko itong karanasan na galing sa akin, saka mainly ang pangunahing tauhan ko dito yung meron kasi kaming nakuhang bahay sa Cavite, sa Tanja. So, yung gumawa nun ng bahay na yun, yung construction worker, kasama niya yung anak niya. No, medyo striking sa akin yung image na dinalo ko sila isang beses sa bahay. At pre-pandemic ito, na naabutan ko yung bata niyang anak na natutulog dun sa kalahating sahig ng tiles. No, kasama niya kasi wala nagbabantay sa bahay. At yung sa isang part naman ng kwento ko ay yung nandun kami sa bahay na yun bago i-declare yung lockdown. So ako, dahil marakontahing tao ako, natamta talaga ako noon na inisip ko kung paano pag nag-ipit kami doon sa lugar na yun. Although bahay naman namin yun, pero hindi pa kami talaga tumitira doon. Inisip ko lang kung ano yung feeling kapag na-stuck ka sa isang lugar na wala ka naman talagang kakilala. So yun yung naging tauhan ko dito, yung construction worker, kasama yung bata niyang anak, tapos nandun sila sa tinatrabaho nilang bahay, tapos naipit sila sa city lockdown. So, ang pangunahing transportation lang talaga ng mga kakilala kong construction workers sa lugar namin ay bike. No, so, paano niya tatawirin yung mga border bawal nga. No? So, at iniisip niya rin, gaya ko rin, iniisip ko rin ng panahon na hindi naman magtatagal yung lockdown. Kaya parang nagpasa siyang tapusin nila yung trabaho. Kaso dun siya nagkamali kasi yun, hanggang ngayon lockdown pa rin tayo. Kasama din dyan yung mga napapanood sa TV na siguro yun yung naging striking din para sa akin. May mga nabalitaan tayo na dahil hindi sila taga dun sa lugar na yun, hindi sila nabigyan ng tulong. Diba, nung barangay, may nabalitaan pa nga, diba, yung parang may suicide yung isang tao kasi hindi siya nabigyan talaga ng ayuda kasi nga ang pinipili sa kanya ng mga barangay, yung mga tanod, hindi siya taga doon, hindi siya nakalista. Which is, para sa akin, asar ako doon sa balitang yon kasi diba, hanggang pandemya ba naman umiiral pa rin yung mga ganong klaseng kalakaran, diba? At siguro yun yung gusto kong yun yung gusto kong ikwento, no? Kahit hirap, gusto kong sabihin na doon kasi galing ako sa lugar na matao sa CAA, sa Las Piñas, no, depressed area yun. Kung saan kahit walang-wala ka, basta nandun yung mga kapitbahay mo, basta may kakilala ka, malilipas mo yung araw. Meron pa nga sa doon, nag-aambagan sila ng ulam para lang makakain. Bagay, yung isa sagot niya yung kamatis, isa sagot niya yung gulay. Pero itong pangunahing tauhan ko sa lugar na yun, wala siyang kakilala. So, naghanap siya talaga ng mga paraan para maitawid yung anak niya, all the while habang inaalala yung pamilya niya na niiwan niya dun sa Las Piñas. Kasi mayroon pa siyang asawa at may anak pa siya doon. Saka, siguro sa dito, naalala ko lang yung yung isa sa sinabi ng isang mga Musay na Manila, si Jose Monsayak. Sabi niya, hindi natin pag-aari ang mga kwento sa lipunan. Trabaho ng manunulat, dalisayin lang yung mga naratibo na yun. Na tayo na yung magsulat nun. So yun siguro yung naging ko kung bakit may sulat ko rin siya. Yan.
Okay, salamat. So yan yung tungkol sa akda. Ano naman, Romel, yung mga pagsubok na kinaharap mo nung sinusulat mo itong kwentong ito?
Unang-una dun sa pagsubok siguro, ito siguro yung una ko nasulat yung panahon ng pandemya. Kasi ito rin siguro yung nasulat ko na COVID-19 related. Kasi parang hindi ko talaga ma-push yung sarili ko na magsulat tungkol dito kasi sobrang paranoid talaga ako lalo na ng mga unang araw ng dinikara tong city lockdown, yung pandemya. Hindi rin ako nakatulog ng maayos. Talaga parang naapektuhan ako nun naramdaman ko na ang hirap kumilos talaga kapag sa ganitong sitwasyon. So mostly, yung pagsusulat mismo para sa akin, yung proseso na yun ay hirap para sa akin kasi hindi naman ako nakakalabas din. Hindi naman ako taong gala, no? Pero parang mas nakaka-function ako pag nakikita ko yung labas. Parang gano'n. Sa pagsulat, parang parang feeling ko nagkulang ako bilang manunulat kasi siyempre, nasa loob lang ako. Hindi naman ako masyadong nakapag-research, gano'n. Hindi ako masyadong feeling ko, yun yung pinakamalaking pagkukulo ko. Kaya, malaking duda sa sarili ko kung magsusulat ba ako ng isang bagay na hindi ko naman parang naranasan personally. No, nag-rely lang ako sa mga napanood ko sa balita, ganyan. Patsi-patsi lang din yung sa akin. So, siguro yun, yung sa sarili ko sa pag-umpisa, sa duda. Pero, yun nga, salamat sa pagkakataon na napasama rin kahit paano yung gawa kasi gusto ko rin din na magkaroon ng representasyon yung mga tao na katulad nila, di ba? Yung construction worker, medical driver dito sa mas malaking naratibo na ito na pandemya, no? Magkaroon sila ng bahagi sa kwento.
Okay, so maraming salamat, Romel, sa pagsagot sa mga tanong na iyan. At yung ating next author, the fifth author for this category, short stories, he's not around today, but I will introduce him to you. Boots is Agbayani Pastor, is a creative published name in the native Ilocano who was born in Ilocos Norte, Philippines. Spent the greater part of his adult life in Quezon City and now resides in Santa Barbara, Villas 2, a subdivision built on a slope of the Sierra Madre in the Barangay Silangan, San Mateo, Rizal. He has published short stories and articles in Filipino and English in national publications. He also written scripts for television and film and translated children's stories and activity books Filipino, Tagalog to English and vice versa. And as well as Filipino films intended for competition and the exhibition in foreign film festivals and slated global release of these films. He has not won any national literary award. And his message is here for his work, The Madonna and Her Child. Ang sabi niya, napaka-crucial ng tanong na tungkol saan ang iyong kwento. Maaaring sagutin sa pamamagitan ng dramatic voice o ng narrative voice. Kung ano ang iyong pagsagot, it will define you as a writer. Base ito sa karanasan namin kapag dumadalo kami sa mga film festivals abroad and lagi itong itinatanong ng mga foreign media and film critics. Ang narrative voice ay sumasagot sa tanong na bilang writer ng kwento, ano ang gusto mong sabihin? Ano ang mga mahalagang mensahe na gusto mong iparating sa mambabasa? Ito ang writer's statement. Ang writer's statement ay isinasalin sa narrative voice upang maging universal ang mensahe ng kwento. Ang narrative voice ng the Madonna and her child ay may kinalaman sa filial ties sa mga panahon ng krisis gaya ng pandemya o simpleng pagkamatay ng isang minamahal at nagkataong nasa malayong lugar tayo. Gusto natin umuwi para makapiling ang ating mga mahal sa buhay. Bigyan ng comfort ang isa't isa, siguraduhin na sa mabuting kalagayan. Hindi na tayo magtataka kung bakit noong kasagsagan ng pandemya, maraming Pilipino ang naglakad ng malayong-malayo mula sa kung saan para umuwi sa kanya-kanyang pamilya. Sa labas ng ating mga tahanan at ng ating pamilya, likas sa Pilipino ang sumailalim sa bayanihan spirit. Ito ay may kinalaman sa sharing, ang pagbabahagi ng kung anong meron tayo na wala sila, na walang hinihinging kapalit. Sa madaling salita, we will define this pandemic according to what each and every one of us has experienced. Maraming salamat po sa kabila ng pandemya kung hindi man maging masagana ang Pasko, sana ay walang kasing alab ito para sa ating lahat. Yan po ang mensahe ni Boots Agbayani para sa kanyang akda na The Madonna and Her Child. And last but not the least for this category, short stories, I'm glad to introduce to you our last author. She grew in the vast sugarcane plantation of Victoria City, Negros Occidental, here in the Philippines, where people are as sweet as sugar canes. She graduated from National University in Manila with a degree of Bachelor of Secondary Education, major in English, and has since been passionate about teaching and leadership that led her to join Teach for the Philippines Incorporated from 2016 to 2019, both as teacher fellow and an alumni ambassador. She currently resides in Quezon City, and along with the traffic jams, tall infrastructures, and more buildings that surrounds her, and also constructions, right? So without further ado, to answer questions about her work, The Whereabouts of Hope, which is written in English, let us all welcome Elaine Kidato. Hi,
Hello,
Elaine.
magandang hapon po. Hello po, magandang hapon po sa ating lahat. Siguro before I proceed po, I would like to give a special shout out to Team Palaban, kung nanonood sa via Facebook, namely Julie, Doms, Crizel, and Ave, and to Ma'am Jalay from Malaban Elementary School. They have been very essential in the creation and completion of this work. So, going back doon sa work mismo, work na sinulat po natin, The Whereabouts of Hope. It's actually basically a compilation of the stories that inspired me. And I thought na kapag sinulat ko to, pag pinagsama-sama ko to in the perspective of hope itself, ay makapagbigay din siya ng pag-asa sa mga makakapagbasa. Kasi sometimes, lalo na itong pandemic, we've been asking, nasa na ba yung pag-asa? Where is hope? So, in this compilation of short stories, I would like to share my realization na, minsan iniisip natin na hope is just a concept, or it's just an abstract or a feeling. But actually, hope can be through a person. It can be through a challenge, and it can also be through about a passion. So, hope is everywhere, basically. So, yun yung message, yun yung bumubuo sa mismong kwento na sinulat ko.
Okay. So, yun yung tungkol dun sa kwento. Paano naman yung mga pagsubok, kung meron man?
Kung sa pagsubok, sobrang daming pagsubok. Pero, I think the personal struggle was getting myself back into writing again. Kasi syempre, mahal natin ang pagsusulat. As much as we love reading and all the other passions na meron tayo. But there are just, especially nitong kumating yung pandemic, may mga internal struggle tayo na parang pumipigil sa atin na, alam mo yun, huwag ka magsulat or hindi ito yung time para magsulat ka. So it was really hard to write from the heart. No, that was the challenge. But that's why I think I am most grateful to the people that I mentioned a while ago, because whether they know it or not, they were actually the ones who inspired me to write again, to basically write again and to get my passion back into writing. Yun po.
Okay. So
Thank
maraming
you.
salamat, Elaine. Thank you very much for answering the questions about your work. So that's it. That's the entries for personal essay and short stories that were selected and edited and featured in our website. So if you want to read the full stories and essay, just go to the website and you can read it all there. So all of these personal essay and then short stories shared with us today of the authors themselves are truly the narratives of hope, resilience, and of course essential insights of experiencing this pandemic, COVID-19 pandemic. And of course, we can see that writing has been the like a silver lining na rin, no? Parang nakapagsulat tayo ng mga akda during this pandemic, and we can consider these works as a contribution dun sa archive ng literature na na-create this pandemic. And of course, we can also say na ito ay mga emergent literatures na na-create during this time. So, to give us his closing remarks, may I call on the Chief for the Center of Language and Literary Studies, Professor Jomar G. Adaya.
Hello po. Magandang hapon po sa ating lahat. Good afternoon. Konnichiwa. Hinamon tayong lahat ng pandemya sa iba't ibang antas. Pinalaki ang agwat sa ating mga pagitan at pinaglayo-layo sa mga espasyong dati pinagsisiksikan natin. Hindi lamang sakit na dulot ng COVID-19 ang nasaksihan at patuloy na dinaranas ng buong mundo. Higit pa rito ang mga sakit ng strukturang naibuyangyang ng pandemya. Kaya naman hindi naging madali ang pagharap sa krisis. Lahat tayo ay apektado. At sa panahon ng kawalang katiyakan, hindi naging madali ang pagharap natin sa bawat araw. Sa mga tulad nating nagtatangkang magsulat ng malikhaing akda, naging isang malaking hamon talaga sa mga nagdaang buwan ang pagsuong sa pagsusulat. At dito tayo higit na nasubok para magpatuloy. Isa ang malinaw sa proyektong ito. Ang malikom at maidokumento ang mga naratibo ng danas sa panahon ng pandemya. Ang proyektong ito ay hindi nagtatangkang magmistulang bakunang magbibigay ng instant na lunas sa krisis o di kaya'y pagtatampok ng mga sarili sa ngalan ng sining sa harap ng pandemya. Kundi manapay isa itong pagtatangka na magsilbing talang pangkasaysayan at pangkamalayan na magiging tagapagpagunita ng kolektibong danas ng Pilipinas at Japan para sa mga posibilidad sa hinaharap. In behalf of the Pandemic Literature Project team, we would like to give thanks to everyone who participated, each and every individual who submitted their essays and short stories. We are very much looking forward to be with you again in our upcoming projects. We, the organizers, would like to give our utmost gratitude to the 12 Filipino and Japanese writers who shared their pandemic stories in this project. Also, a big thanks to the Philippine Society of Young Educators of Languages and the Arts who spearheaded this project. To the Japan Foundation Manila, thank you for trusting us with this endeavor. To the officials of our Sintang Paaralan, PUP, through the Institute for Culture and Language Studies, and the Office of the Vice President for Research, Extension, and Development, thank you very much po. And of course, to everyone who are here with us virtually, who enthusiastically gave their time to witness the pandemic stories by our featured writers, we thank you po. Pwede na po ninyong ma-download ng libre ang mga akda sa pandemicliterature.com. Maraming salamat po sa ating lahat at congratulations po sa ating mga writers na kasama dito.
Maraming salamat, Professor Adaya, sa iyong closing remarks. And again, maraming salamat sa inyong lahat naging part ng proyektong ito, #Pandemic Literature Project. So before po tayo mag-end, pwede po bang mag-photo opportunity po muna tayo for documentation? Kailangan ma-document natin itong historical moment rin na to. No? Maraming salamat po sa inyong lahat. Maraming salamat po.